Such a beautiful song. Did you all like that? I asked them to do that because that song connects me so much with the energy of Jesus's gift to the planet. He brought us that unconditional love and expressed it through this physical vehicle so everyone could feel it and receive it, and showed us that we need to do the same. Yes, so doesn't that make you feel empowered when you hear the song?
Oh, yes.
Yes, okay. All right. Well, you know, this month we've been working on dealing with the scriptures that cover Jesus' journey right before he actually began the ministry with his people. So he's met John, and the 6 of his disciples are there, and we're starting to build his message. And I thought it was important, when I was guided to do this, it's important for us to see what he led with. What was the first thing he said, And he didn't lead with healings. He led with talking. And Patrick opened it up for us and explained how Christ is love, Christ is not a man. He said Christ is not a man. Christ is love, universal love. I am an energy of that love. The kingdom is within you. This is the kingdom of the soul. Purify yourself. God is all present, all powerful, omniscient. These were the foundational thoughts that he began with. Then last week we talked about how getting into the net as they begin to follow him, there's all manner of commitment. And even when we follow, we find ourselves in the inner circle feeling totally empowered, and then we find ourselves out in the outer part of the net, caught in the seaweed a bit, not really understanding all of it. And then we looked at the message that he gave to those who loved him, his family. The message was interesting because if they resisted him, he said that's okay. And he went on. So if you missed any of those services, you might want to catch them on YouTube because they're fabulous. All right, I want to start with re-examining just a few of the scriptures because it's a very, very small space in the scriptures where he's laying these messages out, and Spirit wanted me to look at it in a slightly different way. This is in chapter 68. When he's talking to them about the Christ. And he says, men call me the Christ, God has recognized the name, but Christ is not man, it's universal love, and love is king. Familiar? Yes? Then hear, you men of Israel, hear. Look not upon the flesh, it is not king. Look to the Christ within, who shall be formed in every one of you as he is formed in me. Even when I first read that, and every time I have read that, the word formed, I've always found interesting. What do you mean formed? It's not the Christ will be created in you, but the Christ will be formed in you. Formed is a word that indicates a substance. Let's see, the definition is structure of something and shape of something. So that lets us know that the Christ already is within. The Christ is within us, but it will be formed in us as it is formed in him. And as it was formed in him, it was formed in him in complete harmony, awareness, and truth of oneness with God. Right? As it was formed in him, he was able to touch that divine light. He was able to put forth his hand and heal and help. He was able to do all of these things that the flesh alone would say is not possible. That's how it was formed in him. How it will be formed in us is the same. We know this, right? Take a breath. All right. It is not created, it is. It is there. The Christ love, the Christ God love is there. But at some point, the issues of the earth plane got more dominant. So, I'm going to take us on a little bit of an esoteric moment, because the first step in allowing this Christ to be formed within us is awareness. So, what I'm going to say, most of you know, but let's remind ourselves. Say, okay.
Okay.
All right. Okay. Metaphysically, we believe, back to meta of Christmas, Metaphysically, we believe God is everywhere. God is everywhere. God is all-powerful, omniscient. God is all everywhere. If God is everywhere, are we not in God? Okay. At one point, time is an illusion, as we discovered this morning, but at one point, God consciousness, which is love, the purest of love, the highest of love, something we cannot even imagine. At some point, in that allness, there were sparks created, little sparks of divine life. Perfect little sparks of divine life. That would be us. Little Christed sparks. What is Christ? Christ is universal love. These are little sparks of divine life. And Creator said, in my image and likeness I create you. You shall be creators as well, within this whole consciousness of God. Little sparks of light. So the little sparks of light decided that they wanted to create. But sparks of light co-create with God. They don't create outside of God because they are in God. You see? So all the little sparks of light decided to co-create, and they found this place to co-create, and they created this vehicle to co-create in. That would be planet Earth and our bodies. And so these little sparks of light come to this earth. And they start having experiences. Well, some of the experiences are not what they expected. And they got a little bit concerned. And they got a little tight. And as they get tight and as they get a little bit concerned, they get a little bit judgmental. And as they get judgmental, the beautiful oneness of God, all that is and all is perfect, they begin to move this way. I don't want to know that. I do not want to know that all is perfect because it is not perfect in my mind. This did not happen the way I wanted it to happen. So the little sparks of light and God, consciousness, all there is, created this beautiful space called soul, where all of their little experiences could be housed. The positive, the negative, the God-based, the fear-based, all the wonderful experiences they created could be housed in soul until they figured out what they did. These little sparks of light, when they came into matter, had to use their focus to create. I have to focus to create. When they focused to create, they forgot they were in the oneness. Making sense? Okay. So at some point, all of these experiences in my soul, in Sarah's soul, in everyone's soul, there is a beautiful collage of God-loved experiences where I am just feeling the love, and when I love my dog, I am in God. When I am in love, I am feeling God. Do you understand? When I love that beautiful art piece, I am in God. When I move into fear, I'm saying, I don't want to see God. I want to be afraid. I want to pretend like God doesn't exist in this moment because I haven't fixed it yet. And I need it to be right. Do you hear the little God sparks? So in our soul, we have all these experiences. Then we, of our great infinite wisdom, our Christed spark is ever present. And it goes through the house of soul and creates incarnations, lifetimes, where it can pull some of the issues, some of the past life issues, and some of the things it needs to learn into an experience on the earth plane so it can grow and learn again and heal maybe some of the negative ones. Now you will call it karma, cause and effect. Call it what you want. You chose it. You chose it. You crafted it. But there are so many variables once you get down here. I crafted it, but no, they're not doing what they're supposed to. They were supposed to do this for me. And we get all upset again. And we start judging things again. And it's not right, God. I can't make it right. Okay, now fast forward a couple thousand years, this is where we are today. We're in this beautiful world where our soul is seeking to retain or regain its critical mass of love. In all the experiences we've had, there's vibration in them. And the critical mass, that means 51%. When we tip that critical mass to positive, just tip it to positive, that's love. And so as you have experiences here on this earth plane, where you love instead of yell, you've just affected soul. You just say, oh, mark that one up for me. I didn't yell. And if you can own the pattern of loving instead of yelling, you actually change all the patterns in soul where you ever did yell. You actually shift the whole thing. Because you got it. I got it. I got it. The whole soul goes, wah. Boop. Little louder on the left side. And now we learn something else. And we learn something else. Very esoteric. We are here to Christ. We are here to bring that spark of divinity into this physical point of reference and have the ability to be as Christ, Jesus Christ was, to love, to be in love at all times. What is in me can be formed as it was formed in him. But I brought down interesting things to heal. And so did you. We all did. Because we're trying to shift critical mass of our own awareness. See, I already knew all that, Cindy. All right. Okay, this is esoteric, all right? Now, in our world, when we come into this beautiful body. There is a body focus, there is a mental focus, and there is an emotional focus, right? Your beautiful body that you come into can deflect a flying object at you before the conscious thought kicks in. It's subconscious. You feel the vibration coming at you, boom. Anyone have kids? You do it all the time. It's automatic because your body responds to the vibration coming to it. It's a beautiful machine. Your mind, your powerful mind, can make a mountain out of a molehill or tear that mountain down to rocks. And sometimes if you needed rocks, that's what you do. You don't go to the molehill and just make rocks out of it. You make a big old mountain out of it, and you pour it down to rocks. Mentally, you can do this. Your emotional body, it can have joy, it can attach, it can have expectations, it can go up and down and up and down. This is your tools, this is your playground, these are the tools that you have to flow through. I love this world. Thank you. And in this body that is so acute, mentally, emotionally, and this body intelligence, all you have to do is focus. And the energy starts moving through whatever you're holding in the body so you can create. You can focus on love. You can focus on getting even. You can focus on anything. And everything comes into alignment and it can happen. Okay, so we have this beautiful Christ spirit bringing all these issues from past lives into this beautiful physical moment. And this is where we learn. This is where we learn. So let me bring it home to you for a second. I can look at you with such love and acceptance that you can see the Christ in my eyes. Yes?
Yes.
You've seen it from other people when they look at you and they're just loving you and you see the Christ. You can see that very same person look at you with judgment, expectation, and do you see the Christ in their eyes? No, you see my will. My will. When David was little, the house was more energetic. And being a boy, and Patrick being a boy, it got intense sometimes. But I remember, as being a mom, I'm like, just be good and do what you need to do, be happy, but, let's not cause any problems. We got things to do. And I would hit a point when something happened, and I would say in gritted teeth, I am livid. And David knew, one more word, he's going down. He is going down. There's no doubt about it. He shut up in a heartbeat, whatever you need, ma'am. Yes. He didn't say it, but he did it. Because I was at my point. I'll put up with a lot, but when I get livid, oh no. I happened to see my eyes one day when I was livid. Because you don't see yourself. They were black. They were cold. There was a steel to them. I wouldn't want to talk to me. They weren't scary, they were determined. And those were the eyes that would tear you down or build you up or slap you around, and it did not care because you pushed it too far. And I was shocked when I saw my eyes. And I went, wow, I've never seen myself that mad before. But I didn't get unmad, of course. I just carried on with my mission. But it's amazing how we can go so focused that we lose our Christ. And what would the Christ have said to the little child who was learning, who was growing, my little son? Well, honey, you've chosen an interesting experience. I wonder what karma's going to come from this. Should we just go ahead and ground you so the universe doesn't have to come and whack you down a little bit? Why don't we do that? Let's just ground you. That way you'll get your punishment. We'll control that so the universe doesn't come and smack you around. We'll do that. Wouldn't that be a loving thing as a metaphysical mom to do? Yes, it didn't happen. But the Christ was still in me. The Christ was still in me. The Christ is still in me. I am healing all those things that do not vibrate of the Christ. Can you feel in your body, the emotional body, the mental body, the physical body, can you feel that sometimes we do not have enough space for our Christ to express? We don't have enough space because we've got all these other things going on. We have expectations. And dang it, they need to be completed expectations. We are learning about our own force. When we have expectations, we're trying to send our force to make something happen rather than letting the desire mental body go out to create. If you'll let yourself be in alignment, it will naturally happen. It will create because it cannot not create. But when you're forcing, that means you're meeting resistance. If you're meeting resistance, there's resistance in you. Do you see? Okay. I know all of us are aware when we're feeling Christ and when we're not. Some of you come into church like this, don't look at me, Cindy. I don't want you to look at me. I don't want to see you. Because if I go, hey, what's wrong? You'll cry. You're upset. Something's happening. So, as ministers, we learn to go, oh, have a good day. And try not to ask how you're doing. But you're visible to everybody. Not just me. When we're Christing, when we're sad, when we're open, people see it in our eyes. You know, that's one of the reasons this church is so phenomenal. And many, many visitors comment on it. I've never been to a place where so many people were so awake. I can see it in their eyes. They didn't want anything from me. They're just happy. They're happy I'm here. You guys are showing your Christ. You see? Take a breath, say, that's good. That's good. All right. We get on this planet and we go on a journey of finding personal power. My way, oh yeah, I need my way. And eventually we realize when you're in your personal power, you're going to hit a dead end. Because without God, the energy in which you live, without the oneness, your little space becomes small. Ultimately, to Christ, we need to be on the journey of God power, walking with God power, walking with all there is, which means walking in love. It doesn't mean becoming a minister. It means walking in love. Okay? All right. Step 1 is awareness. Step 2 is personal responsibility. Did you guys get awareness down pretty good?
Yes.
Yes. When he said this to the people, the cross will be formed in me as it's formed in you. When he said that to people, you know what the people said to him? How do I do it? How can I do that? And he said, purify yourself by faith. Whatever you need to do to purify yourself so that the lower self is lifted to the higher self. Purify yourself and love. Love your fellow man. Step number 2 is personal responsibility. The Christ will be formed in me as it was formed in him when I take personal responsibility. Jesus, teacher, and healer, I mark this because I think it's beautiful. We want to remind you always to reach into the spiritual life and to bring into your earthly life the gentleness and the beauty of your real nature, your spiritual nature, which is a part of the divine, part of God. We want to remind you to bring into your earthly life the gentleness and the beauty of your real nature, which is one with God. Not my nature, not even Jesus' nature, your real nature. Can you feel your nature? Okay. Thank you. All illness is a lack of light. So I ask my clients to do this, but I think, again, I know this is let us remember time. Let us remember. Do we not, every time we pray into this Sunday service, do we not ask that each one's Christed nature be fully present in their body? Are we not calling forth the divine of you to be in you so you can be awake? Every time I pray in a session, a counseling, whatever my work is for the day, I ask that my Christed nature be present in my body, and I ask that my client's Christed nature be present in my body, and that we are lifted up above what seems to be insurmountable so we can see what can be there. How often do I make this prayer? Every session with every client. Because I might need to connect with them differently. I don't know. I ask that my Christed nature be present in my body. I ask the divine move through me. Do you do that? What if we did it every day? Every day, wake up and ask that your divine nature be present in your body. If you don't like the word Christ, it doesn't matter. It's universal love. I'm sure, use whatever word, my divine higher self, my spark of God, my divinity, whatever word. My divine, I am Christ in nature, fully present in my body. And I teach people to ask that their family's divine Christ in nature be present in their body. I have prayed for my family for years, every morning, that the divine I am be in their body and their world be filled with God love. Now you would say, well, Cindy, you're exercising your will over them. I'm saying them God love. I don't look for the attachment and go, Patrick, that was not what I prayed for you this morning. If you don't want to do that prayer, you can ask that God's love fill your friends and family. Ask that God's love fill this situation. You know, when I'll give you a key. Nightmares, how many have them? Okay. When you have a nightmare and the monster is coming at you, it's scary, isn't it? If you can train yourself to ask that God's love fill the monster, not your love, not your love. Do you hear me? Because you're healing some fear inside you. That's why you're dreaming. Not your love, God love. I now ask that God's love fill this energy right now because they need it. The monster is hungry for something. Can you feed the monster? God can feed the monster. So I ask that God's love fill this monster now. The monster will disappear from your dream and it'll shift energy immediately. Okay? That's a simple thing. In our real world of this reality, tactile, open eyes, 3D, when a situation we're dealing with that is unpleasant for us, not in line with my expectations of my Christ, we can always ask that God's love fill that person. We should not ask that God's love fix that person. Fix that person, God. Just fix them. Because they're not what? I don't know. Fix this situation, God. Ask that God's love fill it, and ask that God's love fill you. We are so attached to fixing. We are so attached to making it right. You're always right. If you're mad, you're right. If you're unhappy, you're right. You're absolutely right. No one's going to argue. You're right. You're absolutely right. You have every reason in the world to have those experiences. You're always right. The choice is really, do I live in love or do I live in fear? Not am I right. Not am I right. If we ask that God's love flow through us and flow through situations and flow through people, it gives them food. And then the natural intelligence can rise to the surface. I can't fix it, but God can. I will do what I need to do to move through it, but I don't have to be right about it. I just have to show up and do what's mine to do. Do you hear me? There was a study done about little children. I think there were maybe toddlers, maybe older than toddlers, and I can't source the year or anything. But someone was studying the way, the natural instinct for food, and they put these children out and gave them buffet, and they fed them on the buffet for several days. And the buffet had candy and cake and sugars and oh, nummy, nummy, nummy. And they had fruits and vegetables and meats and standard fare. Well, the first couple of days, I believe it was a couple of days, the children went to the sweets. And they filled up on the sweets. And it wasn't any time at all that they ignored the sweets completely. Because the body intelligence kicked in and said, no, we like the veggies. And they started going to the vegetables and the meats and the things that they would normally have eaten to make their body healthy and happy. They weren't forced. They had a choice. They had a choice. Given the choice, if you ask God love to move through you, it activates the natural energy to choose health, to choose love. So that it doesn't become a part of being right or fixing something. It becomes a matter of walking in that energy of love. The Christ formed in me as it was formed in him. The very next scriptures, it talks about Jesus going to the wedding of Cana. Remember the wedding of Cana? They ran out of wine. And his mother said, oh, they're out of wine. And he said to the servants, bring me some containers. And he said, what is wine? It's a vibration. It is a vibration of thought. Simple. It's just a vibration of thought. So he could take his energy, send the vibration of wine into the water, and it changed. Because the energy of divine thought was moving through him. Divine thought creates matter. Divine thought alters matter. Divine thought is always based on love. Whatever matter is created is always for the good of the whole. It's always love-based. Jesus didn't lead with miracles, guys. He didn't lead with healings. He said, listen to what I'm telling you. It's in you. And that's what I came to remind you. That beautiful divine energy is in you. Take a breath. Will you remember to call forth your Christ-like nature?
Yes.
Will you remember to ask God love to move in situations where you're not necessarily happy and content?
Yes.
Okay. All right, let's go with that. Father, Mother God, we ask that your light fill us to overflowing. I ask that a beautiful column of light just enfold each person. And in that column of light, I would invite each of you just to open your heart and welcome the presence of Jesus the Christ, the one who left the pattern for us to follow. Welcome him into your personal space and see the love in his eyes. Feel his love for you. And now ask that your own divine I am Christ in nature descend fully within your body. However you feel is fine. If there is resistance or stress, that's fine. If there's an open and warm heart, that's fine. The fact that you ask opens the door. I ask that my divine I am, Christ in nature, be fully present in my body. And now look at Jesus Christ and notice the love that he has for you. Feel a sense of brotherhood in that love now. It was always there, but perhaps you can see it more clearly. He is my brother. Breathe and let your vision now just turn to scan something in your world that may be bothering you. And now I want want to ask that God's love fill that situation or person. And as you do, you'll feel just a wave of energy moving through you, and it almost detaches you from the vision that came forward. It's like God's got it now, you can let it go. Feel that you even feel more fully present with Jesus the Christ, just having let go something. Take his hand, feel his love, and feel your hand in his. There is only love. There is only love. And you are always loved. Let your focus now come back to the physical body. Just gently see and feel yourself in your chair in your column of light still. Feel the presence of Jesus Christ still with you. And know that you can choose to walk with divine awareness in every moment. I choose to walk with divine awareness. And God, I ask you bless each one here, that they remember and that they not forget. They are your beloved children. And I thank you. And so it is. Breath. Basic tools to help you Christ. Can you feel your divinity?
Yes.
Look out, world. Say, yeah, God.
Yeah.